The year was 1973, and the air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decay. In a small village nestled between the mountains, a legend whispered through the trees, a tale of a woman who vanished without a trace. They said she was taken by the forest, consumed by the very shadows that danced beneath the canopy. But what if the forest wasn't the only thing to fear? It began with a group of friends, eager to escape the mundane. They decided to camp near the edge of the woods, where the trees loomed like ancient sentinels. As night fell, they gathered around the fire, sharing stories of the woman who had disappeared. Laughter echoed through the darkness, but it was tinged with unease. "Do you think she's still out there?" one of them asked, half joking. The others shrugged it off, but a chill crept into the air. As the fire crackled, they heard a rustling in the bushes. "Probably just a deer," someone said, but the laughter had faded. The rustling grew louder, more insistent, until it stopped abruptly. Silence enveloped them, thick and suffocating. Then a voice broke through the stillness. "Help me!" It was faint, almost a whisper, but it sent shivers down their spines. They exchanged nervous glances, unsure if they had all heard it. "Let's check it out," one of the braver friends suggested, his bravado masking his fear. They grabbed flashlights and ventured into the darkness, the beam of light cutting through the shadows. The deeper they went, the more the forest seemed to close in around them. The trees twisted and turned, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. The voice echoed again, clearer this time. "Help me, please." They followed the sound, hearts pounding, until they stumbled upon a clearing. In the center stood a figure, cloaked in shadows. "I'm trapped," she said, her voice trembling. "You have to help me." But as they approached, the air grew colder, and the figure began to shift. Her face was obscured, but they could see her eyes, dark, hollow, and filled with despair. "You shouldn't have come here," she warned, her voice now a low growl. Panic surged through the group. They turned to run, but the forest had changed. The path they had taken was gone, replaced by a maze of trees that twisted and turned in impossible ways. The woman's laughter echoed behind them, a haunting melody that sent them deeper into the woods. One by one, they began to disappear. A flash of light, a scream swallowed by the night, and then silence. The remaining friends stumbled through the underbrush, desperate to escape the clutches of the forest. Finally, one of them broke free, bursting into the clearing where their campfire still flickered, a beacon of hope. But as he turned to call for the others, he realized he was alone. The laughter faded, replaced by the sound of rustling leaves. He collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath. When he heard it again, the voice now closer. "Help me!" He looked up, and there she was, standing at the edge of the clearing, her face illuminated by the firelight. But it wasn't the same woman. This one smiled, her teeth sharp and glistening. "You're just in time," she said, stepping closer. "I need a friend." The fire flickered, casting long shadows that danced around him. He scrambled to his feet, but the forest had come alive, the trees closing in, trapping him in a web of darkness. The next morning, the villagers found the campsite abandoned, the fire still smoldering. They whispered of the woman who had taken another group of souls, her laughter echoing through the trees. And in the heart of the forest, the shadows shifted, waiting for the next group of friends to wander too close, to hear the call of the lost. In a small town nestled between rolling hills, a peculiar event occurred every year. On the night of the harvest moon, the townsfolk would gather to celebrate, but there was an unspoken rule. No one was allowed to venture into the woods after dark. Legend had it that a creature roamed the forest, a beast that feasted on the souls of those who dared to stray too far. Most dismissed it as folklore, a tale to keep children close to home. But one year, a newcomer arrived, a skeptic who scoffed at the warnings. "Monsters aren't real," he declared, his bravado drawing the attention of the townsfolk. They exchanged worried glances, but he laughed it off, determined to prove them wrong. As the moon rose high in the sky, he slipped away from the festivities, venturing into the woods. The trees loomed overhead, their branches twisting like gnarled fingers. The deeper he went, the more the air thickened, heavy with an unnatural silence. Suddenly, he heard a rustling behind him. He turned, heart racing, but saw nothing. "Just a deer," he muttered, trying to convince himself. But the feeling of being watched crept over him, a chill that settled in his bones. He pressed on, convinced he would find nothing. But then he stumbled upon a clearing, and in the center stood a stone altar, covered in moss and vines. It looked ancient, as if it had been there for centuries. Curiosity piqued, he approached, but as he reached out to touch the stone, a low growl echoed through the trees. He froze, the sound reverberating in his chest. "Who's there?" he called, but the only response was silence. Then, from the shadows, it emerged, a creature unlike anything he had ever seen. Its eyes glowed like embers, and its teeth were sharp, glistening in the moonlight. Panic surged through him as he turned to run, but the forest had shifted again, the path disappearing behind him. He sprinted, branches clawing at his skin, the growl growing louder. Closer, the creature was relentless, its breath hot on his neck. He could feel its presence, a dark shadow that loomed just behind him. Finally, he burst into the clearing where the townsfolk had gathered, gasping for breath. But as he looked back, the creature was gone. The townsfolk stared at him, their faces pale. "You shouldn't have gone into the woods," one of them whispered, fear etched in their eyes. He tried to explain, but the words caught in his throat. The laughter of the harvest moon celebration faded, replaced by a haunting silence. That night, as he lay in bed, he heard a scratching at his window. Heart pounding, he turned to look, but there was nothing there, just the darkness, thick and suffocating. But then he heard it again, a low growl echoing through the night. He knew then that the creature had followed him home, waiting for the moment to strike. And, as the moon hung high in the sky, he realized the truth. Monsters are real, and they don't just live in the woods. In a bustling city, a young woman named Clara lived alone in a high-rise apartment. She loved the view, the way the city lights twinkled like stars against the night sky. But there was something unsettling about her building. Every night, she heard strange noises, whispers that seemed to seep through the walls, shadows that danced just out of sight. She brushed it off as the sounds of city life, but deep down, a sense of dread settled in her stomach. One evening, as she prepared for bed, she received a text from an unknown number. "I see you." Her heart raced. She dismissed it as a prank, but the feeling of being watched lingered. The next night, the text came again. "I'm closer than you think." Panic surged through her. She locked her doors and turned off the lights, hoping to drown out the fear. But the whispers grew louder, echoing through her apartment. "Help me!" they called, a chorus of voices that sent chills down her spine. She grabbed her phone, ready to call for help, when the lights flickered and went out. In the darkness, she heard a soft knock at her door. "Clara," a voice whispered, familiar yet foreign. It was her neighbor, a kind old man who had always been friendly. "Let me in." But something felt off. "What do you want?" she called, her voice trembling. "Let me in, Clara. I need your help." The whispers grew louder, drowning out his voice. "Don't open the door," they warned, a cacophony of fear. She backed away, heart racing, when suddenly the door burst open. The old man stood there, eyes wide and wild. "You have to help me," he shouted, but the shadows behind him twisted and writhed, a dark mass that threatened to consume them both. Clara turned to run, but the shadows reached out, wrapping around her ankles, pulling her back. The old man's face twisted in horror as the darkness enveloped him, his screams echoing through the apartment. In that moment, she understood. The whispers were not a warning, they were a plea. The shadows were hungry, and they had come for her. As the darkness closed in, Clara realized she was not alone. The city lights flickered outside her window, a distant reminder of the world beyond. But in that moment, all she could hear were the whispers, growing louder, more insistent. "Help me!" And as the shadows consumed her, she knew she would never escape. 3 stories, each a reminder that the darkness holds secrets we may never understand. The forest, the creature, the whispers, they linger in the corners of our minds, waiting for the moment we let our guard down. And as you lay in bed tonight, remember, sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that could happen to anyone.